Hi everyone. We will again be having a guest teacher teach our lesson today. Our lesson is Lesson 2, Session 3, and we will be connecting place value strategies to an algorithm.
Connecting place value strategies to an algorithm. Today we're going to be starting on page 37 in your student work text. You will also need paper and pencil. You may want base 10 blocks or a hundreds place value chart. Yesterday, we practiced adding 3-digit numbers that required regrouping. Today, we're going to learn how the strategies we used yesterday connect to an algorithm. What is an algorithm? An algorithm is a sequence of steps that you can use to solve a mathematical problem. Let's get started. Please turn to page 37 in your student work text. Here is our problem for today. What is the sum? Use place value to help you add 225 plus 229. What is this problem about? Pause the video and write down what the problem is about. When you're finished, press play. What is the problem about? Did you write down that it was about adding numbers or finding the sum? Good thinking. This time when I read the question, I want for you to think, what are we trying to find out? What is the sum? Use place value to help you add 225 plus 229. What are we trying to find out? Pause the video and write down your answer. When you are finished, press play. What are we trying to find out? Did you write down we were trying to find out the sum of those two numbers? Good thinking. Now it's your turn. You're going to pause the video and read the problem to yourself, and then write down what information is important. When you're finished, press play. What information is important? Did you write down 225 plus 229 and use place value? What is place value? Let's take a look at the problem. I can see that there are a 5 and a 9 in the ones place. So the value of those is 5 and 9. I can also see that there is a 2 and a 2 in the tens place. So I know that those 2's each represent the number 20. And in the hundreds place, the 2 and the 2 each represent 200. That's what we mean when we say using place value to help you solve the problem. Now you're going to have time to work on the problem on your own, either in your student work text or on a scratch paper. Remember that you can use your toolkit. You can use base 10 blocks or a hundreds place value chart if you like. If you can think of more than one way to solve the problem, I'd like for you to solve it more than one way. Pause the video now and solve the problem on your own. Press play when you are finished. Now look at your work. Next, you are going to explain how you solve the problem to a family member. After you explain how you solve the problem, ask them, do you agree with me? Why or why not? Pause the video now. After you finish, please press play. Now let's look at some ways to solve the problem. In this example, the red box shows the 225 when we use our base 10 blocks. and the blue box below shows the 229 when we use our base 10 blocks. Let's look at how this person combined these together to find their answer. I noticed that they drew a box around the 10 dots and regrouped that to make a 10 that they added up here at the top, leaving them with 4 dots in the ones column, and then they wrote the number 4 at the bottom. Next, they counted up all of the 10s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and wrote a 5 at the bottom of the 10s column. And then they counted the number of 100s, which was 4, and got the answer of 454. That's one way to solve the problem. But we really want to try to solve the problem using our place value. So let's look at another example and see how these examples are similar. This student solved the problem using partial sums. We can see that they added the 5 ones and the 9 ones and got 14. And then the 2 10s and the 2 10s and got 40. And then 200s and 200s and got the sum of 400. And then they added each of the columns together to get 4 in the ones column, 4 plus 1 equals 5 in the tens column, and 4 in the hundreds column, for a total of 454. Let's check next and look at the model that's in your student textbook. I can see that this is just like the way that our last student solved the problem using partial sums and place value. How are these two strategies alike? How is this strategy like the strategy that used the base 10 blocks? Can you think of an example? Pause the video and answer, how are these two strategies alike? Press play when you are finished. One thing that was alike about both strategies is that the numbers and the relationships were the same. There are 5 and 9 ones, and then the 2 and the 2 and the 1 representing the tens. Let's go back and look here. There you go. The 5 and the 9 in the ones column, and then the 2 and the 2 and the 1 represented in the tens, and the hundredth place represented by the 200 and the 200. Shown here in this example are the same as the numbers that are shown in the number example that used place value. Next, let's turn to page 39. On this page, we're going to take a look at how we can write it in a shorter way. And this is the algorithm that we've been talking about. Let's take a look at this example. In this example, we add the 5 and the 9 and we get 14. We write the 4 below the ones column. And we write the 1 in the tens column because it was 14. That 1 is equal to a 10. The second step is to add the tens. You can see the 2 and the 2 and the 1 adding together would get a 5. And then finally add the hundreds. 200s plus 200s equals 400 for 454. Now let's look at how this algorithm is similar to the way we solved the problem before. In this example, we added the ones first and got 14. 5 plus 9 equals 14. In this example, we wrote the 14 below the problem as a partial sum. In the algorithm, the difference is that we carried that 1 over to the tens column because we know that we regrouped the ones to make another 10 here. The rest of the problem is pretty similar. 2 tens and 2 10s to make 4 10s here, and then 2 hundreds plus 2 hundreds equal 4 hundreds. Let's take a look at the algorithm example. And it shows those 2 10s plus 2 10s and the one that we regrouped from the ones column, so we know that we would have a 5 down below. Can you see how the algorithm makes it a little bit quicker to solve the problem? It's another way that we can solve this kind of an addition problem. Next, let's look at page 39. On this page, you are going to compare the modelet with the place value sums being regrouped. Remember, regrouping is what we do when we have 10 or more in any place value. For example, the 5 plus 9 equaled 14, so we regrouped that 1 from the 14 to make a new 10. Take your time and refer back to the modelet examples to help you make sense of the questions. When you have finished, have a grown-up check over your work and then answer the apply it questions on your own. Pause the video now, and as always, be a persistent problem solver. I'll see you back here soon.
You will now need to finish solving the problems either in your math book or in ClassKick.